and welcome to Add More Zest. My name's Rebecca and it is time to organise 192 lots of diamonds. So I'm going to start with the easier part, which is the alphabet. Now, what I am going to do for this one is, even if, so can you see that one, I wouldn't class as the letter X. I would class that as more of a cross symbol because it's thicker. But I'm going to put that with the letter X because I think it's similar enough and alphabet works better for me. Same with this one being a 0 because it's a circle with the hole in the middle. So that's sort of what I'm thinking as I'm pulling these out. So I'm pulling out the ones that aren't, in my mind, a letter or a number. So that straight line I'm going to have as the letter L. And that's a small o. That's probably more like a degree symbol, but I'm going to class that as the letter O as well. I'm not going to do the full dot because my mind doesn't go to alphabet for that one. Personally, it goes to it being a dot. And what I'm trying to do is clear one case at the moment so that I have one to put it in. Now this one is probably one that's a little bit different to some people. So this one is an upside down letter T. Because of working on my Dreamer Designs White Christmas, and I actually put this one very close to the letter T because my brain went to T. I know to put this one with my letters because it makes more sense to me on how to do it. So anything that is a letter reminds me of a letter. So I think there's the cent symbol in here for 10 cents. That is a letter C. I'm going to put that with the C's. I think I'm also going to put the $ with the letter S. Because again, it just sort of reminds me of that. And it doesn't work with every symbol, and it's not going to work with every person on what they think is similar to a letter. We've also got that one. It's probably got a name. It looks like it's 2 S's written over the top of each other. It's probably got a name for the symbol. I don't know what that name is. But again, I'm going to class that as a letter. So I like to start with letters. So I have the letter A, which is the letter A. And now for the other ones, I am just going to take out the ones that I want to use. I've got to the side here the numbers. So let's move that number over there so that I've only got letters over this side. So I'm having a look for any, see that's a circle, but it's then got a square in the middle, so it doesn't make me think of an O. Which, again, it would probably be different for some other people. That symbol is actually, it uses 2 letters, the letter B and the letter L. Also, this symbol that is like, when you turn it on its side, it's like is, but with the backward S. I think I'm still going to put that with my letters. Again, it's sort of the association with a letter rather than it being an actual letter. I've also got 3 straight lines, which is the Roman numeral number 3. I'm putting that with the number 3. Again, just sort of giving you explanations as to why I'm putting some things with other things, because I've got the association with a letter rather than it actually being a letter. Again, this one, it's not got the I, but it's very similar to an S. So So I'm going to put that with the S's because it makes sense to me to be with it. Okay, I think I've got them all. I've got a circle here with a shadow underneath it. I still think of that as more of a circle than I do of the letter O. Though I have found the letter O and it's a very similar colour. So I'm actually going to change my mind in this case, and I'm going to put these two together because they're similar. They're both shades of pink. And even though it's a circle, I would or in my mind it's a circle, I would rather have it close by the letter so that I don't get it wrong. And I may change these up as I'm going along, as I'm actually working on the painting, because I find I associate something with it, with a certain letter. Okay, so I've got no normal letter B, but I do have that BL. Then we have the letter C, but I'm pretty sure I saw the cent sign. Or maybe I didn't. Oh yeah, I did. So we've got the sign for cents, A, B, C. I don't think we have a D. We've got E. Have we got F, G, H? So I've got a couple that can go with H. I'm also looking for any Fs and Gs. Not seeing any. So this is probably a H and an I. But because it's sort of the tops of the eye are the same length as the down part of the eye, to me that feels more like a H on its side. But H and I go together, so I can still put them together. But I sort of, because I'm so used to tilting my head, I read them both as H. H-I. Okay, have we got any J, K or L? So I've got some L's. Have we got any JKs? I've got a few L's. No, I've got three. Well, I've got H, I've got another I or an L, which is the straight line. But then for L, I actually have two. One is thicker than the other. L, M and N. Do we have any N's? No. Oh, we do. L, M, N. And then for O, I actually have quite a few that give me the look of the letter O. So I'm hoping it'll focus on them all. But we do have one with a line through. I was borderline on that one, but I think it's worth keeping together. We've got this one that I consider being a circle, but it's very similar to the letter O. We've got a thicker circle and we've got the degree symbol. I'm going to class them all as O's because they are basically the symbol of an O. Okay, we got any P, Q, no, R, S. S I have, I have 4. No, I have 5 that I could class as an S. So we have the real S, the sideways S, the double S, and then we have the sideways and upside down IS and the dollar S. So we're going to go with the real one, the single and the double, and then I'll put the next 2 on that row. So S, and then T, I have 3, one of them being an upside down T. Well, in fact 2 of them, sorry, being an upside down T, one of them thicker than the other. S-T. Then I have one letter U, but then I have one that looks like an upside down U. Could be classed as an N, but because it's not got that little stick, I actually see that more as an upside down U. And then we have a V. Then I have 2 X's. One is the thicker, which is more of a cross X than the letter X, but I'm putting them both there. And then I have a Y and a Z, or Z. So I think I've got all my letters. For my numbers, I do have 2 lines and I have 3 lines. They're Roman numeral numbers, but I'm going to take them. So we have 2s, 3s, then we have 4, 6, 7 and 8. Okay, that was the easy part done. That was the easy part with the letters and arrows. Letters and numbers. Now I do often then go to arrows. Arrows / triangles of any sort. So I'm going to put them all across this top part as I go through, whether they're an arrow or a triangle. See, that is 3 with a line through it, but I still don't class that as a 3, though when I'm actually doing it, I may do. So we've got a triangle. Just trying to make sure that I get any arrows or triangles. Trying to get them together so that I can see them to move them into the pot. See, that looks like the number 2 as well. Okay, maybe I should bring these in then. So let's move 7 and 8 up there. That's probably more of a number 4 if you were doing the gate system. You know, by doing 1, 2, 3, 4 and then a line across. This is 1, 2, 3 and then a line across the middle. Okay, so I've moved them in. So back to arrows and triangles. It's an arrow, triangle, arrow, arrow, loads of arrows. Arrows, triangles, these corners where it's part of a corner. Arrows or chevrons, classing them all as arrows. Okay, got them all out of there. We've got some more over here. Arrow, arrow. We've also got 3 dots. Wondering whether to put that with the 3s. Though I do tend to go for that one with the dots. So again, we're still on arrows, triangles, chevrons, all those sorts of symbols. That's an upside down one. That's an arrow. Oh, we've got loads in this one. We've got lots of arrows. Arrows and triangles. Triangles, arrows. Probably going to have to take these out in a moment, but at the minute I'm just trying to collate them. That's an arrow. And I may miss some. Okay, so arrows. Arrows / triangles. I have all these up here. So I'm going to go with the arrows that are outlined first. That's a triangle. And then we'll go for the solid arrows. I'm checking for any other arrows that are outlined. That's an outline one. That I'd class as a solid. Then we're going for solid arrows. So this is the true arrow shape. That's probably not the best one. That probably isn't either. That's probably clearer for you to see. So I'm going for the true thick arrow shape, and I'm going for the outline arrow shape in those. Okay. Let's move those back. Then I have, so that is an arrow, not an outline, but it is a solid arrow. That's a backwards arrow. That's a solid arrow. probably is as well. Okay, so they're solid arrows. Then they're like a bow and arrow. So let's put those together. So I'm grouping within my group, if that makes sense. Trying to make sure that while all the arrows are together, all the same types of arrows are together, or triangles, as the case may be. So at the moment, I'm a little bit more swaying towards arrow than triangle. So now they are sort of the chevron ones are together. Okay, then we have a chevron with a line through it. We have another one that's a chevron. So I'm actually we're still in with arrows, but I'm keeping them close together rather than splitting them up, so that when I'm scanning that area, I can see up the top. Then I've got two that are sort of lines, triangles, but not triangles. Okay, and then, so that is, what have we got now? Let's think. So now I have two different types. So I have triangles that are a solid triangle facing in an arrow direction, and then I have a triangle that is more a corner. So that's what I'm trying to split up now, and I'm trying to have a look. Those that are corners compared to those that are full arrows. I have a space of 4 here, so I'm going to go with the corners, and then I'm going to put the corner with a hole in the middle, so they again all stay together. And then I've got the triangles that are sort of arrow shaped. 2 of them are hollow, 4 of them are solid. Okay, so I think I'm liking that so far. Not sure if you can see. So we have letters. That is a double letter, but it starts with a B. We have letters or things that look like letters to me, all the way up to Z. Then I have numbers, including the likes of Roman numerals and a tally system, up to here. And then we have all different types of arrows / chevrons all together. I'm going to keep that as my first tray. I am going to switch to my second tray now for a minute. I will go back and fill that top tray, but I'm not sure. See, like I've just seen that one. It's like 2 triangles on top of each other. That potentially needs to go in triangles. I've just spotted another chevron, so I'm going to put that in with those. So it's more for me to catch the ones that I've missed, or ones that I think would suit the arrows better, while I try and figure out what symbol to pick next. So I can either go with shapes, or so I can either go with regular shapes like circles, stars, diamonds, or I can go with what I call keyboard symbols and pick the keyboard symbols out, which would be the likes of a plus and an equals. So maybe let's go for symbols. So this is like a divide, but on its side ish. It reminds me of the divide symbol. This, even though it isn't a slash, it's a double slash, it reminds me of the slash symbol. So I'm going to pull that out. Anything that I can sort of associate with a keyboard but is not a specific shape, then I'm going to pull those out. This is where it gets hard, because it's sort of seeing all of the ones that are there. So that's a closed bracket. We've got a full stop. which is a square rather than a circle. It's a very small square. We've got a plus symbol, so that's the second plus symbol. So let's move those up. Second plus symbol. Got anything else? Semicolon and a close bracket. So let's put full stop and a semicolon together. Let's put those open and close symbols together. Is there anything else I see myself as being a keyboard? So we've got an open quote mark. We've got the slash. Sort of trying to move them as I've looked at them. See, that's another one that's sort of going into a dot. So I might have to go into shapes when I'm done so that they can all be together. And that's sort of 2 dots and that's sort of 1 dot. Oh, and another equals. Okay. I've also got an actual real divide symbol. So I'm going to put my equals. So I've got 2 plus, 2 that are equals, 1 that's a proper divide symbol and 1 that's it on its side. Then we've got slashes that can go together. We've got an open quote and an asterisk. And then I've got 2 plus, 2 equals, sort of 2 divides, depends on how you do it. A slash could be a divide as well, so that's next. Then we've got a double slash, we've got open bracket, close bracket, we've got part of a quote, we've got an asterisk, we've got 1 full stop, and we've got a 2 full stop, which is not really a 2 full stop. And then I'm going to go into circles, because then we have 2 dots the other way, and like a bigger dot. So I'm going to go into circles of any type. So they're circles, that's a circle, that's a star, that's a swirl, so that could probably go with circles. If I'm trying to think less symbols, that's half circle. These are weird little, they're like teardrop symbols. I'm going to put them to one side. Got a half circle, full circle. See, then we've sort of got 4 dots together as well. So let me keep that one about. Oh, we've got another asterisk. So I'm going to move the dots along. This is the hardest part, is knowing that you've seen all of them. That's a dot, or at least a circle type. We've got a tick mark. That would probably be classed as a keyboard symbol. Or at least it's one I recognise off the keyboard. Circle. That's a circle even though it's a sun. Circle with a line through. Pregnant stick. Anybody else thinks of it that way? That's sort of 3 dots. It's 3 stars, but it could be classed as 3. Oh, we've got a question mark. That needs to go in with those. I'm supposed to be looking for circles. That's not really a circle, but it's a squashed one. That's got a half circle. That's a circle. There's the 3 dots. And there's another teardrop. Okay. So again, this is more making sense to me than it may make to you guys, but that is a lot of the time what you need to do, is you need to sort of do what makes sense to you. So I have just put in those extra keyboard symbols that I saw. I've got my single dot and my semicolon. So I've got a single dot, semicolon, then I've got my upside down semicolon, but then I go into dots. So I've got 2 dots together, a single dot, and then I've actually put the 3 stars there as well, because we're sort of on like a 1, 2, 3. Because we're sort of on the smaller 1, 2, 3, then I've got the number 4. I've also got these shapes that I feel they're more teardrops than circles, but I kind of feel like they fit in with the 1, 2, 3 type dots. So I think, oh no, they are 3 dots. That's the 3 stars, see? So I kind of feel like they go together and that they're actually going to work there before we go into the other circle shapes. So for the other circle shapes, we have a couple here that are a circle with a circle inside. One of them is a smaller circle than the other, but they're both not hugely similar colours, but along the same sort of lines. So I am going to put those together. And then I'm going to put that circle with a square inside. We've got a circle with a line, a circle with a cross inside, a circle with a cross that's bigger as well. We've also got one with 2 circles inside. So I'm working on sort of circles with added bits. I've got circles with lines through. I've got a circle that's then got the sun on it. 2 circles that are more like swirls. A squash circle, a pregnant stick. And these that are sort of half circles going into full circles. So really, for the equivalent of circles, or what looks like circles or half circles, I have a heck of a lot. A heck of a lot. Okay, let's break up circles with stars, because I feel like that's a bit more of a defined shape. I can break up the circles with the stars before I go into the likes of diamonds and squares and things. So if we've got anything else that is definitely stars. I also feel like that is then sort of around the same sort of area as those 3 dots with stars. At least I'm not searching a completely different tray. Okay. So now I think we've got to the point with the amount that I've got left. What I'm going to do now is try and define ones that I definitely know. So we've got a heart, that's a heart, that's a square, and that's a diamond. Then I've got a couple that look like flowers. See that one I'm tempted to put in the circles. It's only a quarter of a circle, but it's definitely got curves. So let's move my stars up. And I'm looking at them each individually. So that's an I don't know. That's definitely a full-on symbol. It's a club symbol. Don't know. Don't know. That's a moon. There and I don't know. That is a diamond. That I'm classing as a square, even though it's not. We've got a tick. Those 2 I'm saying are squares. That is a borderline circle. That's a definitive shape. Square. Square, square. So I'm already finding quite a few squares / rectangles. Quite a few diamonds. I found another one that's a star. So I'm looking at them all a little bit more specifically now to say, what do I consider? Do I consider you to be one of these? So that's a diamond, that's a diamond, those 2 are probably more triangles. They're egg timers. That's possibly a keyboard symbol. That's possibly a triangle. So's that. That's a square. That's actually quite similar to that one. That's a diamond. That's a square. Oh, and I've got the dash symbol, which is probably more of a keyboard one. Okay, so I've got a few symbols there and a few symbols here that I probably can group those down even further, but it's sort of happened that I've ended up with quite a few that are diamonds, a couple of hearts, and a few that I would consider a square or a version of a square. I also have a few that I would potentially consider to be triangles, but not hugely. So not that one. So we've got egg timers. Then we have like the little tent. And then we have the likes of the hazmat symbol. So I'd class these more as egg timers, I think. But these two, I think I'll use them to fill the gap next to my arrows and triangles. Then I've found two more keyboard symbols because, you know, that's just the way I roll. So let's move all these up a minute. And this is where this many colours can get confusing because it's not like you're fully looking over each and every one. Okay, so it's those ones. That's where I really want to stop it. So I have a hashtag and a dash symbol. Is there anything else that I could class as a keyboard symbol? The tick, probably. The tick sign is on the keyboard. I've also got these two that sort of, they're not really slashes, but they could potentially be thought of as slashes. I've also got this dash symbol, but then that's another sort of squashed circle as well. So just having a look if there's anything else that I sort of think could potentially go around here, sort of fill in this gap up to this dots. They sort of all need to go together. Then I've got that. Okay, anything else that I can sort of class to fill in these gaps as on the keyboard, or a keyboard type symbol, a symbol that is used for some things. Possibly that one. I don't know whether I'd class that as a keyboard symbol. However, it is 939 next to 310. So I kind of feel like it's a good place to put it. Those are symbols off decks of cards. These are what I consider flowers. They're flower-ish. So anything else that's sort of similar? That's actually a keyboard symbol. That's the Mac command symbol. So I'll have that one. Those I consider sort of flowery, even if they're not actually a flower. That one could be considered the letter M, but I'm not going there now. I've filled that one up. I'll have that one. Okay, so I'm back where I was. So now, having a look at this, following the stars, I actually think I'm best. I've got 20. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Okay. So I'm not going to be able to put both of those in. I'm trying to work out if I want diamonds to go close to the egg timer symbols and actually put squares in the next one, or whether I want circles followed by squares. I think I want circles followed by squares. So I don't have any that are solid squares. So that's a couple of outlines. I'm trying to see if there's anything that is similar. So I have two here that are a square with a slash through. So they look similar. So do they. So these are all sort of full squares with patterns inside them. And then we have a little bit of a variation of being a square. So here we've got more your true square symbols with lines through, or looking like an envelope, or looking like a pattern, or multiple squares in squares. So they're all pure variations of squares, but then we have squares with sticky out parts. This isn't really a square, but it's probably the closest, and it's very similar to this one. Then we have the two that are sort of corners. So they're all together. So I can actually fill this up with hearts, which are shapes, and the club and the spade, which again are sort of shapes. That's probably more of a flowery type shape. Do I have another shape that I could add on here? Possibly that cross. We'll bob that in there. Say, none of these are set in stone. They could potentially be moved. So now I'm going for diamonds. So I want my solid diamonds. Then I want my diamonds with something inside them. And then I want multiple diamonds that make up a diamond. If that even makes sense. Multiple diamonds that make diamonds. Then I'm going to put my egg timer ones together. Then I've got anything that I would consider to partly look like a flower. How many have I got? I've got a little bit more than 10, so I'm going to go for this straight row here. So these are all ones that I consider to look similar to a flower. And then we have the rest. So we've got a moon. And I'm sort of grouping these a little bit by colour as well. So we'll put that one up there. Those two are similar. Okay, so this is more the rest of the hodgepodge. So we have diamonds, things inside diamonds, multiple diamonds in various different forms, and then we have a little moon. Then we have the egg timers or the bow tie. Then we have sort of all the other weird-ish symbols here. The little pins, a double pin. Then I have all ones that sort of look flowery-ish. They're all different types. Some of them are a true flower. This one often has a different name, but you could class it as a flower stem. And then I have this little oval here at the top that sort of looks like a cursive letter L, but it doesn't scream L to me. Okay, so that is what I'm going to start with for working with Walking in the Rain. I think I've definitely got anything that looks very similar to another one close together, I think. I may find when I'm actually working on the canvas that something looks more similar to another, especially within sets. So I may find, I'm trying to find an example. So I may find that it actually, between this 918 and 919, that it is a half circle and a circle in a circle. Depending on how it looks on the canvas, I may find that they're very close together, or I have to look hard to determine which one's which. If that's the case, I will switch things about within this to make sure that the close ones are with the close ones. It's very similar with that letter, with that upside down letter T. I didn't include that in my alphabet letter T when I was doing White Christmas because it's upside down, so it's not a T. But my brain did keep trying to look at the T's for it, so I'm trying to be very conscious, and I think this painting will show me more so than any others of what symbols I associate with something else. So like there'll be keyboard symbols that I associate as a keyboard symbol that you guys don't, because you never used it, never had any reason to, and all the rest, whereas there'll be some that I do. Same with the letters. The only one I'm unsure about is whether I should have put this with the M's. Now I've seen it afterwards. However, because of the way the case has ended up being laid out, and I actually think these are better with the triangles, I'm going to see how I go and see how it turns out. But I have 3 trays ready to go. I'm excited to try a section or 2 of this before it gets to the point of being able to do it in a whip and waffle. But it is all kitted up. It's ready to go. The canvas is ready and prepped, and I will be popping it in my decision wheel from now. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope the explanation of how I've sorted things out helps you when sorting out your symbols, especially for high number canvases. But I'll speak to you all again soon.